Welcome everyone to another modding tutorial for Conan Exiles. In this tutorial, we'll look at the skill structure and how to expand it. As an example, I'll be using the armor section. We'll be naming the skill Weaver, and I want to make it a bit more complex. Since this skill in the game is only responsible for creating clothing from fibers, it occurred to me to add a few intermediate steps that were used in the past to make linen fabrics. Judging by the photographs, the plant's stems were crushed and then combed to produce so-called yarn. This yarn was then spun into threads and woven into fabric. So first, let's determine which tables we'll be working with. We'll be adding new items, so we'll need an item table. We'll be creating these items, so we'll need a recipes table. And the main table that displays our skills is called a feat table. By the way, if you want to remove all the default skills, just add a cleanup node in the mod controller and specify the table you want to clean, then add your own table to it. This way, your mod will only have your own skills. But our goal is to complement, so we'll mix tables. Let's open our feat table mod table and the original feat table. We need to find our skill to copy it to our table. If we don't replace its ID in our table, it will replace the row in the original table. So I'll immediately uncheck this box so the skill isn't available during character creation. The skill name is fine, but we'll change the image. I've prepared some images that I'll upload to a separate mod folder. The images are in PNG format, 179 by 179. This is sufficient for icons. But it's not enough to just load them into our mod. We need to open them and change their UI parameter. Only after that, we can assign them as images in our tables. So how do we determine where our skills are located in the game menu? Skill tabs are a category we can select. In our case, it's armor. A skill contains a list of recipes that become available after learning it. In this example, it's clothing sets. I'll delete it as they will now be a subcategory of the skill. Here is the cornerstone level parameter, which is responsible for the hierarchy in the section. The higher the number, the lower in the list it will be displayed. Now let's create subcategories in our skill. To do this, copy it and change the ID. I'll add a 10 at the beginning of the number. Open the original recipes table to copy the image and description for our skills from the items we can craft. Each skill will also start at level 1, but I want to set the learning cost for each one to 1 point. And the cornerstone level parameter should be 0. Also, we need to specify which skill it should be in the root of. The prerequisite feat parameter is responsible for this. We copy the ID of our main skill into it. Now, let's add our own recipes to our skill. For simplicity, I'll copy the recipe from the original table and modify it for our future item. Let's set the recipe type to Tools, and we'll be crafting it from branches and stones. The pictures show that many branches have been stuck into the stone, creating something like a rough brush. We'll also copy any resource from the original item table. In my case, it's bones. This will help us avoid mistaking the item class. Then we'll modify it to match our item, specifying the stack quantity and removing the tags.
What can we obtain from plant fibers using our brush? Yarn, which we'll later use to make threads, and from these threads we can weave fabric. Let's create all of this.
To craft yarn, we'll use our brush as the catalyst. This way, our brush won't be wasted in crafting. Everything seems to work, but there's a bug with creation. This is because we need to recreate the character for all skills to be up to date. Now everything works as it should. That's it for this tutorial. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next videos.